the complementary role of European Parliament and national parliaments. This is what the Rock report did as well. It's a bit of wishful thinking, you know, it will be complementary, but in which sense will it be complementary? I'm also impressed by the goodwill of the European Commission, the attitude of the Commission with the Barroso initiative, anticipating the Lisbon Treaty, and even requesting for responses. So, I'm wondering why how to explain such positive attitudes of the European Parliament and the Commission. Maybe, you know, when there is a new player, you try to make friends with a new player, you know. And maybe you're even considering making new alliances, you know. A bit like in the European Convention, national parliaments, there were some interesting correlation between the component of national parliaments and the European Parliament members. So maybe they are already trying to play this game. And this is a thesis, a hypothesis that I submit to you, but you will tell me what you think about it. I think that the main motivation is some kind of new intergovernmentalism, or some kind of new internationalization of the system, some kind of new counterweight to the supranational institutions. And this hypothesis is supported, I think, by one significant fact. Both protocols, subsidiarity protocols, protocols on the national parliaments, what do they refer to? They refer always to draft legislative proposals. So they refer to European legislation. So they refer to mainly acts which are adopted by the Council and the European Parliament. The Laeken Declaration did say we should have increased the role of national parliaments, especially in the cases where the European Parliament is not involved. And this is exactly the contrary of what they did. You know, they chose legislative activity. I think so. This is completely the way around. This was noticed and mentioned during the convention, and this was my first hint to my hypothesis that I submitted to you today. Because, you know, CFSP, for example, this is not legislative activity. But isn't it there, for example, that the control of national governments would be more interesting? And do not forget that legislative acts or action has a definition. And then there are still many acts which are non-legislative and still adopted at the first level. It's also very interesting to remember that the notion of legislative acts was not known until very late in the Convention. But still, from the beginning, at the working group of the National Parliament in the Convention, it was legislative activity. We don't know what it will be, but it will be there. We don't know exactly what it will cover. So this is an hypothesis that I submit to you, but saying this is not saying everything about the national parliament. It's only one paradigm, it's only one variable, you know, related to the institutional balance. But there are, I think, two other paradigms, two other variables to take into consideration in order to assess the new role of national parliaments, to assess the intentions, and to assess the actual consequences. And those two variables are one, the format of action in which national parliaments are acting. Are they acting individually or collectively? And the other variable relates to the nature of the role, the nature of the action, to do what, at which level. And here, I think one has to distinguish the role of national parliaments in the constitutional treaty-making, in the decision-making process. Now we know that it's a legislative-making process. and also a third kind of functions, which are dimension control on the national governments. So it's through those two prisms, those two paradigms, that I think we have to combine the variables in order to assess properly the role of national parliaments.